looks like it could be a really good movie. But until I see the full movie, I can't sit here and say, this is the best movie in the country right now.
I personally haven't seen him do enough or do more than even, say, someone like Avery Johnson.
Not having Diego Pavio on my list hurts me internally.
Now, the college football 2025 season, if you look at the way it's shaping up, there's a lot of unknowns at the quarterback position for some top teams. You look at Arch Manning coming in, what he's going to do at Texas, Julian Sayin at Ohio State, C.J. Carr at Notre Dame, Ty Simpson at Bama. I can go on. But there are some proven commodities heading into the year that we think are very, very talented. So we decided, sitting here in early summer, right after the spring, to give you our individual, and this is going to come from each of us, top 10 quarterback rankings heading into the 2025 season. Now, I want to say personally, I'm not projecting guys who I've not seen play enough. Whether that's Ty Simpson, who's been at Alabama for a while, whether that's Arch Manning, that some people have number one on the list, and you know what, that's fine, and you could be right. But I don't know enough yet. I haven't seen enough from them. So the list that I'm going to give out, and I'll let the other guys speak for themselves, these are guys that I've seen play, that I know, whether they've transferred, whether they've been up to school, because I'm going to go off the information that I have. We could make a most potential list, potentially, down the road. But gentlemen, just heading into the season, Cone, I mean, I would almost put it at 50-50 if you look at some of the projected top 10s of teams that have had a starting quarterback that's returning, or maybe that have transferred to the school. And then looking around some of the biggest brands in college football, I mean, you got some new guys in there, which I think is fascinating.
I could barely even make this list, man. I could barely make a top 20. I always love this time of year, by the way. Projecting and filling out these top quarterback lists, and there's just so much talent around the country. Like, doing my research on this and rewatching some tape from 2024, I was just reminded of how many really solid quarterbacks there are around this country. And I was looking like there's always that one or two guy who doesn't make your top 10 list, who you know is going to overperform and be in the top 5 or top 3 at the end of the year. Who's that guy going to be? I did the same thing with my list. I didn't put anyone on here who hasn't started a football game already, and almost at least 9 out of my 10 guys have pretty much started a full season. So that does exclude some guys like Ty Simpson, and some other guys.
Even like Gunnar Stockton. Where do you put Gunnar Stockton on that list? Obviously, he had to play late because of the injury. I just
like, how much do you actually know? Yeah. But so I kind of followed the same curricula, and I'm excited to see what your guys' list look like.
Yeah, Blaine, did you kind of follow that same pathway, or do you have some guys who maybe haven't played a lot on your?
No, I follow the same. I have to.
Good.
But the hardest thing, I felt like the playoff committee, to be honest, because the hardest thing was leaving certain guys off, right? Yeah. The 10 to 11 to 12. Who fits that last spot? Because there's a bunch of phenomenal quarterbacks that are returning next year that aren't on my list.
Well, and to that point, before I get to my top 10, and I'm going to go from 10 to 1, it was hard for me not to put Kevin Jennings on this list from SMU. It was hard for me not to put Sawyer Robertson from Baylor on this list, who I think is really talented. And that Week 1 game against Auburn on a Friday night is going to be fascinating.
Kevin Jennings didn't help himself in the college football.
He did not help himself.
It's hard for that to be the final taste in someone's mouth from last season, and to put him as the top 10.
All right, so here's what I got going from 10 to 1. 10 for me, Haynes King, Georgia Tech, a guy that made one of the biggest jumps that we have seen from when he was at A&M. I know the ACC isn't the SEC, but you look at the efficiency of it. And it's not like he threw for 30 touchdowns last year, but guys, he had 14 touchdowns to only 2 interceptions, was pretty efficient with what they were doing on offense. You rushed for almost 600 yards, which to me, I mean, Haynes King, is he a great passer of the ball? I don't think he's a fantastic passer, but I think he's good enough, and he's such an instinctual runner and kind of a more powerful runner than he gives off. He's just got to stay healthy and coming back for another year there at Georgia Tech. Then at 9, I got Marcel Reed from A&M. I've seen enough from him to really, really love the potential on this guy. I think he has a chance. He has that rare combination to be elite at both throwing or passing and running. And you're going to see kind of a common theme here with some of these other younger guys that are dual threat guys, and really even Levitt from Arizona State, which I'll get to. But I'm so excited to see Reed with KC Concepcion coming over from NC State to A&M, who, if you have not seen KC Concepcion, because NC State didn't live up to the hype last year, oh boy, is an absolute stud and a baller. I cannot wait to see that combination and how Colin Klein uses them. Guys, I'm going to be honest. I almost left Carson Beck off this list, but I got him at 8. Okay, I got him at 8 because I do respect what he was able to do at Georgia. I know how talented he was at Georgia, but I thought last year, he looked a little bit shaky in the pocket. And if you're going to be shaky and off-kilter in the pocket with that offensive line in front of you, I look at Miami, and I know they're in the ACC, and I've got him in the top 10, but this is the one I'm the most nervous about, coming off the injury as well. There's something about Carson Beck, man, that I'm struggling to trust. I'm just struggling to trust, but I got him there at 8 because of what I've seen before and because of the lack of really returners that we have overall in college football. So then I got 3 really, really talented young players that have unbelievably high expectations this year. At 7, I've got DJ Lagway. A little bit worried about that arm trouble. I know he's throwing now. I got to see if he keeps progressing, but oh boy, if he's good to go, he's as talented as it gets. Lenoris Sellers right there at 6 for South Carolina, who I think is a phenomenal, phenomenal prospect, and what he's going to be able to do continuing to grow underneath Shane Beamer. And then Sam Levitt at 5. I know they lost Scatterbo. I know they've lost a couple other pieces, but this dude is an absolute stud. You look at him coming over from Michigan State. Then Nussmeier at 4. All right, I'm entering the top 4 here. I got Nuss at 4. He's got to stop putting LSU in bad situations when he faces pressure. Either throw the ball away, throw the hot. He anticipates so well, but sometimes, just like a lot of coaches' sons, he tries to do too much and he over-anticipates. Then I got Drew Aller at 3. And I thought last year, I know there were some games where they didn't throw it around a lot. I thought Andy Kotelnicki has really blossomed his ability to push the ball down the field. And with what Penn State was able to do through the transfer portal at wide receiver, I know they lost Tyler Warren, but I think Drew Aller's going to take another step. And then 2 and 1, I got Cade Klubnik at 2. I think Cade, you look last year, you talk about a guy that proved a lot of haters wrong and doubters wrong with what he was able to do last season. His ability to be a run threat, his ability to clutch up too. I thought at some points last year, I think he's going to grow again under Garrett Riley. And then number 1, and it's why I got him as my sleeper to make the college football playoff, and that's Johnny Mateer at Oklahoma.
I love it.
And not just because Mateer is super talented. He is. But his OC's coming with him. And we've talked about this a lot. There is no language learning curve that Johnny Mateer is going to have at Oklahoma. It's everybody else. And he, to me, was the number 1 quarterback in the portal. I think Oklahoma is going to be an absolute nightmare this year. I love the way that Johnny Mateer plays, so that's my top 10 right there.
I like that list. I also have Haynes King at number 10.
Okay.
And you made a statement when you were talking about Haynes saying the ACC is not the SEC. You're 100% correct, but he also gave the Georgia Bulldogs all they could handle.
For sure.
Kirby Smart and that defense had no answer for the Q counter that Buster Faulkner was dialing up. Yeah, they should have won the game. It went to 8 overtimes. Haynes had over 300 yards passing and 110 yards rushing. I'm just really proud of what this kid has done since he left Texas A&M and has gone to Georgia Tech. The growth and the development. Is he an NFL player? Most likely not, but he's a heck of a college quarterback, and he's 10th on my list, and he beat out some really good players here. I know we're going to get into who got left off here in a bit. Number 9, Carson Beck. Same thing, Jake. I thought about keeping him off my list. He was my Heisman Trophy prediction a season ago. He's coming off of an injury, but not just that. Off the field drama, going to Miami, leaving Georgia with whatever happened with the girlfriend. He got his car broken into, which that's no fault of his. I know Blaine will say something.
Happens to the best of us.
I still couldn't leave him off the list because of the arm talent, because of the accuracy. When this kid throws a dig ball, you really know. So all of that is NFL potential. I couldn't leave him off the list. He's at 9. He's got everything in front of him. Let's see what you do at Miami now. Lenoris Sellers is at 8 for me, and at one point I had him as high as 3 on this list when I was moving the order. That's how much potential. I think at the end of the year, if Lenoris Sellers is the best quarterback in college football next year and he's at number 1 on the postseason list, it wouldn't surprise me at all. The potential is that high for him. I want to see him throw the football a little bit more on time. I know he can run.
That's what when you were breaking down the film, that's the first thing that you brought up.
And not that he didn't do it in some games, but in the biggest moments, I want to see him hit 3 in a hitch and get the ball out of his hand and not just get out of plays because he's an unbelievable athlete and can take off for 75 yards at any moment. And I think he is going to show that growth. Number 7 for me is Drew Aller at Penn State. Again, game in and game out, the turnovers weren't there, right? Like, he limited the turnovers. He's mobile. He can run. He's not the fastest guy, but when he goes downhill, it looks a lot like Josh Allen running. He has an absolute hose. When he's throwing a dagger route, it looks a lot like Carson Beck throwing it. I want to see him play his best football in the biggest moments. Yeah. And, yeah, they were deficient at wide receiver. We talked about this with Andy Staples. I think they've brought in some really good wideouts this year at Penn State. I think Drew Aller is going to move up and be higher in the postseason list than 7, but right now that's where I have him. 6, Diego Pavia. Again, is he a guy who's going to be an NFL quarterback? I don't know, but an absolute gamer. Give me 3 or 5 Diego Pavias. Man, you could take over.
He'd be great in the UFL.
Are you kidding me? Yeah. They would love him. Absolute gamer, man, and what he was able to do at Vanderbilt and just beating Alabama alone last year was just a heck of an accomplishment for Vanderbilt football. I just love the way the guy goes about his business, and he's right here in Nashville. Number 5 now, we're in the top 5, Sam Levitt. You know, what I'm most interested with Sam Levitt is to see how do you perform when you're the hunted, right? Because everybody's gunning for you now, and you lost Cam Scatabo, who was a big piece of that Arizona State offense a year ago. I still think what he's done transferring over to Arizona State from Michigan State with his ability to deliver the football through the air, but also what he provides in the run game, and not just the run game, but his mobility to escape the pocket and still throw the ball downfield is another threat. And that's the same with a lot of these guys once you enter into the top 5. Number 4 for me, maybe my riskiest pick to be this high, is DJ Lagway at Florida. Obviously coming off not just the arm injury, but also a lower body injury as well. I think depending on how he responds to that injury a year ago will mean he's either not in the top 10 at all in the postseason, or maybe he climbs even higher than 4, because I think the arm talent is that good with this kid. He's entering his sophomore year. Go back and watch some of his film from last year. The deep ball accuracy is truly incredible for a freshman quarterback who really wasn't even supposed to be playing, because Graham Mertz was the quarterback initially before he got injured. Really interested to see how he performs at Florida this year. Number 3, and this is really 1A, 2A, 3A for me with these guys, Garrett Nussmeier coming back for LSU. The arm talent is truly extraordinary. Will he be a great NFL quarterback? I'm not sure. He's a old school gunslinger, man. It looks like Brett Favre out there. You got to limit the turnovers. I think he's going to have a really good season for LSU. Let's see what happens, what they're able to provide around him, and also on the defensive side of the ball. Yeah, that always helps quarterback play for sure. Number 2 for me, I switched these guys all morning and all last night when I was thinking about this. I'm going to put Johnny Mateer at 2. Okay. For guys who didn't see Cam Ward play at Washington State, and then all of a sudden he bursts on the scene when he transfers to Miami, and we were talking about how good Cam Ward was when he was at Washington State. Don't miss out. Don't do the same thing here with Johnny Mateer. Go catch up on some of his Washington State highlights before he plays at Oklahoma, because I'm telling you, the kid has it all. You want to talk about throwing the football on time with this RPO scheme? I mean, you could do a teach tape on what Johnny Mateer brings. The reason I put him at 2, I want to see him do it week in and week out with this SEC schedule now. Okay, that's what I really want to see. And for me, number 1, I do have Cade Klubnik at number 1. And I think that even if Cade Klubnik and Johnny Mateer have similar seasons, I think Cade Klubnik's going to benefit a little bit from an easier schedule, and that's going to help. But the reason I have him at number 1, and I don't believe all this overrated talk for him, is that game against Texas at the end of the year, to go into that environment where you're from and to throw for over 300 yards and to throw for 3 touchdowns was truly extraordinary. It's not his fault that the Clemson defense gave up 300 yards of rushing.
Yeah, and he finally now has weapons around. I mean, that was the biggest knock on Clemson, right, going into it. It was like, where is the DeAndre, where's the Nuke Hopkins? Where's the Justin Rosses? Where are the T. Higgins? Well, they got some young guys out at wideout now that can absolutely flat out go get it. So you feel better about Clemson's ability to score.
All right, y'all ready for the correct top 10?
I just gave it to you.
You can give yours, though.
Okay, as long as you're ready for it. Hey, we all agree on number 10. I'm putting Haynes King there.
Oh, you had Haynes King?
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to go, how do you fit into your scheme? Yeah. Right? And I think Haynes King, from a fit standpoint, from an IQ standpoint, and from an athleticism standpoint, I think you could put him in one of the top 10 in the country. I have him at 10. 9, I got Sawyer Robertson. If you didn't see Sawyer play at Baylor, I think one of the purest arms in college football. And he's not one of the guys that's going to be like, wow, he's doing spectacular things in the pocket, 28 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, but I just don't think he's going to get you beat. And from a scheme standpoint,
he reminds me of Sam Levitt from
Absolutely. He fits in that scheme well. And then at 8, I'm going Carson Beck. And a lot of people have to remember this about Georgia last year. I know Carson didn't look phenomenal, but this is probably the only time since Kirby Smart's been there that I can say from a skill position last year, Georgia wasn't great.
Yeah. Or wasn't as elite as
well, they weren't. I mean, you had Arians who got drafted, who's a straight line guy who couldn't catch. I mean, basically ate popcorn before every game he went out there and played. But we saw what Carson Beck did the year before that with the talent that he had in Pickens and Bowers. And going to the ACC at Miami after seeing Cam Ward leave, I think he's going to be okay there. And number 7's Drew Aller at Penn State. Drew Aller's one of those guys, to me, he's not going to go win you a lot of football games, but he's not going to lose it for you either. And I think the way Penn State's built is running the football and defensively. So I think Drew's a good fit there. I think he's a good player, but not a great player. I'm going DJ Lagway at 6. A lot of it has to be, is DJ Lagway healthy enough this year with his shoulder after coming off surgery? Can he still do what he does, even as a freshman last year? But I think from a playmaker standpoint and just from a pocket presence, an absolute cannon, an absolute howitzer on his shoulder, DJ Lagway has the ability
got that dog in
to
it
be
too.
one of the best quarterbacks in the nation, especially with all the receivers he had beat up last year, and that offensive line was not great. Now I'm going the Nuss bus at 5. I mean, I think Garrett, you want to talk about a guy who reminds you of Brett Favre, Garrett's right there, just an absolute cannon. He's a grown-up, he's experienced, and I think it's going to help him a lot this year, not only from a defensive standpoint, but LSU couldn't run the damn football last year. I mean,
Which was shocking.
Which is shocking with the offensive line you had. You had how many 1,000-yard rushers they had?
Yeah. And
Zero.
for the Brett Favre comparison, we're talking about like the way he plays, right? Because I think Favre had a way better arm than what Nuss.
Well, yeah, I'm talking like arm slot, getting outside the pocket.
Never saw a window he can't squeeze a ball into is what I mean.
Yeah,
exactly. Number 4, the closest thing we've seen to Cam Newton in a long time. And that's Lenore Sellers. It's Cam Newton light. That's what he is. I mean, he's 6'4", 250 pounds. He's a downhill runner. You're going to have to get multiple guys to the ball to tackle him. The only thing I'm going to see a jump from, 1, consistency, accuracy, and getting the ball out on time. And that comes with what? Experience. So I only think he's going to get better throughout the year. But God, he is massive and he can fly. Number 3, I like our boy Sam Levitt. I think from just an absolute playmaker standpoint, I know you had Cam Scatterbo. You were beat up a receiver last year. Your defense wasn't great. But I don't know if I saw a single guy, a single rusher be able to get to the pocket and take Sam down. I think he's the dirtiest one when it comes to pocket presence in college football.
He can fly.
And he's running.
Like when he's
For a
running,
white kid, he is moving.
Like there was one time his white ass took off like earlier in the year. I was like, oh my God. I think
Like,
he's going to
Sam
Mississippi
can
State. I was like, I respect your game.
I think you brought up a great point. I want to see how he plays now that he is the hunted, right? They know who Sam is. They know his ability and his skill level. We'll see how he plays, but I think this dude's an absolute gamer. And number 2, I think we go John Mateer. I really just, from an overall, and I think he's going to fit phenomenal in this Oklahoma scheme, especially bringing this offensive coordinator. We'll see how Oklahoma is a receiver. They're going to be better up front.
He'll fit the scheme.
And a Brent Venables coach team is what? It's a defensive-led team. So he's going to fit their arm strength, arm slot, accuracy, consistency. He can do it. So I think John is obviously a good fit at 2. And I'm going Cade at 1. I think Cade's the best quarterback in this class, and he's only gotten better year in and year out. And I think Cade Klubnik is the clutchest quarterback in this class. You need a big play. You need the right play going through progressions. You need somebody to get it done right now. Cade Klubnik is that guy this year, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him at the end of the year holding that Heisman Trophy.
Did you have Drew Aller on your list?
Yeah, I had Drew at 7. It pains me to put
but before, because we want to know in the comments, let's say, which one of us do you agree with? Give us your top 10 in the comments. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. But who's the one guy that it hurts you the most to leave off this list, David?
Well, I have 6 of them, but you asked for one. It hurt to leave Rocco Becht off. At Iowa State. Like, I think Rocco Becht is really good. And I was, him and Avery Johnson at Kansas State, it hurt. Like, I had Rocco Becht, Avery Johnson right there. Fernando Mendoza, who transferred over from Cal to Indiana, I think is right there as well. Luke Altmaier at Illinois. I mean, that one hurt. Maddox Madsen playing at Boise State. I think Maddox Madsen's a heck of a player. And then, again, where do you put Arch Manning? Again, he started a couple games in relief of Quinn Ewers when he was injured. He played in a lot of games that he didn't start. But to your point, if you have Arch Manning as your number 1 quarterback in this class, to me, I'll say the same thing that I kind of said about Shedeur Sanders with some of his time at Colorado. You are being influenced at some point by the last name. Not that look, at the end of the year, Arch Manning may be the best quarterback in the country. He may win the Heisman Trophy. I personally haven't seen him do enough or do more than even say someone like Avery Johnson, who's not in my top 10 list yet.
Let's face it, nobody likes being bugged, especially by bugs. And when those unwanted visitors do show up, you want them gone fast, right? Well, luckily, Pesty is the do-it-yourself pest control that gives you access to the same professional-grade products at just a quarter of the cost. Their easy-to-apply kit takes only minutes to use with customized plans tailored to your specific location, bug problems, and climate conditions. While traditional pest control companies charge upwards of $800 annually, Pesty provides an affordable alternative with treatment starting at just $35. This budget-friendly approach doesn't compromise on quality. You'll get a personalized solution designed to effectively target the specific pest challenges in your area. We have one here in the studio. It works unbelievably well. Plus, Pesty effectively eliminates over 100 types of bugs, from spiders and ants to roaches and scorpions. It may even help you with your mother-in-law while remaining completely kid and pet friendly, using only fully registered pesticides that have been safely used in hospitals and schools nationwide. So now is the time to protect your home from bugs with Pesty. Go to pesty.com/Crain for an extra 10% off your order. That's pestie.com/CRAIN for an extra 10% off. Yeah, well, to me, I can't tell you if the movie is fantastic by just seeing the trailer. I feel like with the Arch Manning, I just saw the trailer for the movie, and it looks pretty good. It looks like it could be a really good movie. But until I see the full movie, I can't sit here and say, this is the best movie in the country right now. Trailer might be nice, and that's what we've seen. We saw the spring game, saw him come in and torch Louisiana Monroe. Not exactly the best pass defense. Mississippi State, some of these others. But to your point, I can't give the movie 5 stars if I've only seen the trailer.
Not having Diego Pavia on my list hurts me internally because of what Diego Pavia.
Was I the only one who had Diego?
I believe so. I believe so. He is Vanderbilt. He carries Vanderbilt to all those beating Alabama. That was Diego Pavia. I think him. I think Taylon Green from Arkansas could have a big jump with the athleticism and what he can do just from a breakout standpoint. And say what you want, no matter what team he plays for, I still think Nico is going to be a very good college football player. I think he'll probably shine even more now being in UCLA and not being in Tennessee with just the athleticism around him. So those are 3 guys and Rocco Beck, obviously, but Nico, Taylon, and Diego.
All right, so Nico specifically, if Nico had stayed at Tennessee and we didn't have all this transfer portal or asking for more money drama, was Nico going to be in your top 10?
I'd have probably had him somewhere from 7 to 10.
And with him not being on there now, that just speaks to some sort of
the talent around him.
Okay.
Because to me, I'm taking in all factors. That's why I have Drew Aller at 3. Again, to Blaine's point, I think he's right. I don't think Drew Aller's going to go out there and win the Heisman this year and just run all over people and make these incredible plays. Not that he can't make good plays. If I look at Penn State, solid run game, bringing back some great backs. Love what they did in the transfer portal at wide receiver. You look at Pena at Syracuse, the guy they got from Troy. And then, knowing how good Penn State will be on defense, to be able to give him as many opportunities as possible, probably with really good field position. Again, the ones that hurt me, the Rocco Beck call is a great one by you. Maddox Madsen, that's another good one as well. But Pavia, to Blaine's point, just because, damn, you talk about important. Woo! You can't have Charlie's Angels without the Angels, man. And that to me is when you think of Vanderbilt, the first person that I think about is not Clark Lee, right? Not a defensive end, not one of the wide receivers they had who were studs last year that should have won him out of this. It was Diego Pavia. Diego Pavia is one of the best stories in college football, and I hope we're able to get him on before the season as well.
Yeah, for sure. I'll tell you a couple other names. It wouldn't surprise me if they were to move their names onto the list in the postseason. Miller Moss going over to Louisville. Yep. But again, it's on him. The onus is on him to make this list, right? I don't think you can just say Miller Moss is a surefire top 10 quarterback entering this season. Another guy, Darian Mensah, who's transferring over to Duke from Tulane, had some really great games last year. Had some games that weren't so great. There's some inconsistency. Can he play consistently enough with Duke in the ACC to move his name on that list? And then Austin Simmons at Ole Miss is kind of in the Arch Manning camp.
Yeah, we
saw just enough to see what life could possibly be like at Ole Miss or what the ceiling could possibly be post Jackson Dart. But again, not enough to say I feel very confident putting you in the top 5.
Oh boy, dropped his State Lotas against Georgia.
Well, it's amazing. To be honest with you, one name we haven't brought up, and maybe this would have been different if we talked about this before last year, Dylan Raiola from Nebraska. I mean, you could say he's been a letdown so far.
I think he has been.
But he's young. Yeah. But he's young and the jump's there. Do y'all think he'll end up being on this list after this year?
I think he possibly could be. As a passer, I think he's uber talented. I think he's very, very talented. I think he'll continue to grow there. I thought he was going to be more athletic than what he was. I thought his escapability, his running ability, not that he's, I'm not saying he's like Stephen Hawking or anything, but like at the end of the day, he's kind of more of a sitting down. I mean, I saw a chick in flag football get him the other day. Like I worry about his ability to extend the play. Not within the pocket, which is what he's probably going to have to do, but I expected more on the periphery athletically from him than what I've seen.
See, it's interesting you say that because, and this is why it's so smart what the Manning family did with Arch to target a specific play caller and coach and Steve Sarkisian, a specific university and a specific situation where Arch could get some playing time, be in packages, but sit behind a guy like Quinn Ewers, bide his time, and now he's like universally, he's the Heisman favorite. Texas is number one in the country. Just talk to Andy Staples, right? Whereas if Dylan Raiola had found himself in a similar situation where he's able, and he was committed to Georgia for a while, if he was able to sort of sit behind Carson Beck for a while, maybe have some packages, come in and wow you already when Georgia's up by 40 points and show you the arm strength and some of the stuff that DJ Lagway was able to do at Florida, then maybe Dylan Raiola would be either higher on our list or we would be higher on him right now, rather than coming in immediately as a young guy and it's like, hey, sorry, you got to revive Nebraska football.
Yeah.
It's all on
No,
you.
it's a lot. And I don't think he's a bad
guy.
player. I'm not saying I think he's a bad player, but this isn't a list of good players.
Yeah.
Like if you want to do a list of good players, we can do that. I'll give you 50 of them. This is a list of who we think are going to be great players. And it's funny. It's funny that I'm putting Haynes King on this list and not Dylan Raiola. If you would have told me that 2 years ago, I would have told you like something happened to me, like I got MK Ultra or something. But I mean, it is.
You know how many times Dylan threw for 300 yards last year?
Zero
times.
Yeah. Which again, Nebraska's got problems all over the place, but I just hate that they wasted. And again, we'll see this year defensively. I know Tony White's not there anymore, but man, they had some pretty good defensive units as well. But all right, let's move on here, Tony. What do we got?
All right, let's get to some reactions. First one up, the most viral tweet of the week. Can we bring it up, please? The conversation. Yes, this is the tweet.
Read
here.
that, David.
I think 100 guys could beat one gorilla. Everybody just got to be dedicated to it. 288 million views on X.
How many likes is that? Like 300,000 or something?
My brain can even barely comprehend that a tweet like that got that many views. But everyone is talking about it, which means we have to talk about it. Could 100 dudes beat one silverback gorilla? And if so, what kind of dudes do we need and what's the strategy?
I want to tell you mine, but first I just want to defer to Blaine because I've been waiting on this one. What do you got? Be honest. Keep it real with him, son.
Come on now.
Well,
keep it real with him.
Obviously, we're smarter than the silverback.
Are we?
Yeah, David. There's a reason we made it out of the food chain.
No, our ancestors made it out. I think we're going back.
Okay, maybe that's a conversation for another day. Okay. All right, so it's 100 guys. All right, 100 guys. And from a percentage standpoint, are going to be gay. All right?
You're just random selection right now.
They're
5 to 7%?
Yeah. No, of the 100 guys.
So you're just randomly selecting your guys.
5 to 7 guys are going to be gay out of that group. 100 guys. And it's all about tactics here. All right? It's all about tactics. Y'all wanted this. This is what y'all wanted, okay? This is what you're going to have to do from a strategy standpoint, all right? All 100 just can't go jump them at the same time. It's not going to work. He's going to outplay you. He's going to outmaneuver you, okay? You have to send one of the gay guys, all right? First, maybe put him in a dress. I don't know. But he's going to have to suck off the gorilla.
What?
He's going to have.
We got to.
All right, listen.
Sexual?
Sexual. All right.
Sexual and otherwise.
While you are, okay, and the gorilla's not paying attention to everybody else, that's when you jump them. All right? That's when you get on top of them. We're ripping eyes, we're ripping ears, okay? One guy is going to have to take it for the team, put on a dress, walk up there, and
how do you convince the...
So you're up for the job?
Yeah.
No, not me. I mean, I'm obviously the guy. This is like Hunger Games. I'm one of the judges.
Hold on.
You're just...
I don't think you're just... You know if the gorilla's gay?
10 seconds in, Blaine's like, new plan, actually.
Okay.
The gorillas eat their own poop, okay? He's not going to care if some guy in a dress comes up.
Okay.
That's the only way.
Wow.
I'm
the only way.
Okay.
I'm so glad we pre-recorded this.
What do you have to say?
Here's what I think. It's tough to follow that.
Look, it's
we can't use weapons, right?
No.
No weapons.
100 normal guys. I'm going to say normal guys. 100 normal guys. Here's what you do. I don't think it's that complicated. First of all, I don't think you realize how much 100 guys is. Except for Bonnie Blue. She's the only one who really understands. What I would do is I would take 50 and bum rush them. And those are the guys that are ripping wieners, grabbing ears, gouging eyes. David, look, what? Are you kidding? You got to live.
Well, at this point, might as well go with Blaine's plan.
No. I'm talking about ripping them off.
Saving lives.
I'm talking about ripping them off.
I'm out here saving lives.
I'm talking about ripping them off. I'm talking, you got to bum rush them with 50. And it would take so much effort for that gorilla to be able to take down 50 guys that either two things are going to happen. One, he's not going to be able to do it. The 50 are going to overwhelm him, right? You rip his eyes out, he's cooked. But the other 50, okay, the second thing is that he'll be so exhausted by the time he gets done with the first 50 that you send 25 at him right after that. And they should be able to handle it. And just in case they can't, you send the last 25 to go kill him. You don't need to send one guy to flirt with them or go to be rounding third, headed for home, like Blaine said over there. I just think you need to space it out because the gorilla would end up being, it's one gorilla.
All right, look, there's nothing sexual about mine, but I bring up the tweet, please. Y'all are going to make me be the ones to point this out. I'm going to have to point out the gorilla in the room here. The original tweet didn't just say 100 random guys or 100 dudes. It said 100 N-words. It did say that. It matters who we send. We can't just be random selection. You can't just get 100 guys named Jacques from the south of France, okay? 50, it's hard to get 50 dudes at first around the gorilla. You got to go in smaller waves, wear them out.
But see, I feel like
guys too crowded.
Like, the thing about it, we're acting like we know the endurance of a gorilla.
I don't.
Well, we're going to find out.
We don't.
Yeah.
We can't waste all our ammunition right at the back. Here's the question, though. Do you send your best first or do you save your best for last? I mean, those dudes who go at first.
I'm sending my worst 50 to go wear them out.
Yeah, I think from a mentality standpoint, you send a small wave and he's ripping off.
That's what I'm saying.
Like if this is 300.
Biting off heads.
But what did you say you mean to be hard to surround the gorilla? What do you mean? You circle them. And then everybody goes.
But 50 dudes in a circle, like if this is 300, where's Leonidas? Is Leonidas leading the charge in the front, setting the tone? Or is Leonidas in the back ready for the kill shot?
No, Leonidas is telling everybody what to do. Jake is sitting on top of the mountain.
No, I didn't say Jake. I know Jake wants to sit in his ivory tower. I'm talking about a real dude.
Yeah.
Leonidas is going to go.
Leonidas is going to be the first one to go, and then he's going to get his arms and head ripped off.
Yeah.
And then the rest of them are like, hey, this shit's not going to work.
Just like in the movie.
Yeah,
and then they go back and, someone else gets his wife.
But if you're like Xerxes, you don't send the immortals first. Like you send the people who fix the wheels and stuff on the carriages. Then you let the other 50 get it.
But to your point, like, what if the first couple just they get their arms and limbs
they're gone,
and then everyone else quit?
Oh, there's no quit. Well, look, we all signed. You can't go anywhere. This is like they locked the gate.
Watch them.
You got to trick them.
Well, then you got to go to Blaine's office.
You got to trick them. You got to trick them. All right?
That's why do you have to go that far? Why can't you just distract them with gayness?
That's fine. You can distract them with gayness.
You just can't send anybody. You got to send some real killers, man.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm not telling you send a bunch of Italians out there. It's not going to work.
But if we grab 100
guys from Chicago, I mean, we got a shot. They know how to jump people. Yeah. I mean, I don't know a better group of guys who know how to jump people than those guys. But I'm saying, from a physical standpoint, he's stronger. From an endurance standpoint, he has more endurance. From a finger grip standpoint, he can rip off arms and legs. But we're smarter than him. Okay, that's where you have to attack. From a mental and IQ standpoint, all right, you got to trick them, all right. And I'm trying to save lives on my side.
All right. So what about 10,000 gorillas and 1 million dudes? Do we have a shot?
I'm trying to think.
I never watched any of the Planet of the Apes. Did we do well?
1 million dudes.
1 million of us compared to 10,000.
That's a lot.
Better be like how many guys per gorilla? Like that's.
You think 15?
I think it's more than that.
Isn't it 100?
1 million to 10. Is it 100?
Oh, that's what.
I know.
100 guys.
I'm trying to, in my head, I'm trying to think what 10,000.
I'm just worried about if the 10,000 gorillas squad up.
Yeah.
Because they can start talking to each other and stuff.
Yeah.
In guerrilla language.
Yeah.
It was like hitting on stuff.
How does it sound?
Yeah, yeah.
Is it Arnold Schwarzenegger? What is that?
All right, next one up. Apparently, the NFL has fined the Atlanta Falcons. What was it, $250K?
Dude.
And their defensive coordinator $100K because the DC Sun was involved with the prank calls to Shadur Sanders and some other guys. My question is, would there have been a fine if it hadn't been Shadur Sanders?
No.
If they only prank called Tyler
No, because
Warren?
nobody would have cared, just like they didn't care about Cooper DeJean or Tyler Warren or the offensive lineman. My thing is like, why is everybody else except the guy who did it getting fined? This is incredible. They fined everybody except oh boy. How about this? How about your ass goes and picks up trash on the highway for the next 3 months?
Yeah.
That'll do it.
Like everybody is financially hurting except the dude who did it.
Golly, this is like the one kid being late to practice and everyone else.
But like you're 22 years old.
Yeah.
Like at what point am I not paying for your mistake?
It's a Sandy Yelnat situation for me. Send them out to holes, let them build some character.
Get in the Camp Green Lake.
In the Camp Green Lake.
Yeah, just stay away from the list.
They find the team.
How do you feel about this if you're the Falcons? What are you saying to the defensive coordinator?
Better play good.
Call good plays.
We better be top 10, brother.
Yeah, we better be
on
tackling.
every category.
Oh my God.
And look, at the end of the day, they got Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr., so they might be okay.
Well, yeah, you better play good. It's that simple to me. It's that simple.
All right, next one up here. The Eagles went to the White House. You see Saquon played golf with Trump?
Yeah.
Everybody's coming after him. He's like, I played golf with Obama like 2 weeks ago.
It just...
How are we at this place?
Because we live in the dumbest time ever. The smartest, dumbest time ever.
This is why we can't beat gorillas.
No, well, it's just like, man, look, at the end of the day, if the president invites you to do something and you go do it, like, what are you supposed to just be like, no. Like, I don't care that Jalen Hurts didn't go. Okay, I don't care. I don't care that Saquon went. Why is this such a big deal? Now, I personally, we got invited to the White House. We went. I don't care if it was Obama or Biden or whatever. I would do that out of the respect that I have for the office. And you can do what you want. But, like, the fact that people were like, yeah, man, Jalen Hurts, man, didn't go to the White House. Or Saquon, they called him Slave Quan. That's what they were calling him. For going to meet the president? Do you know how many slaves would have loved to meet Abe Lincoln? Like, it just, like, what? Like, it's the dumbest. It's the fact that we even talk about it is so dumb. It's so dumb.
Well, I think it's phenomenal for Saquon, to be honest, because it shows that he's an independent thinker. He's not going to bend to what the people want. He's not going to bend to your narrative. And he's not going to just not go because he's the same skin color as everyone telling him not to go. So I think Saquon's always been like this. He's an independent guy. He's going to do what he thinks is right. And no matter what social media says or what talking media heads say, Saquon, if he wants to go meet with the president, if he wants to go play golf with the president, that's what he's going to do. The outside voices and outside opinions is not going to dictate what Saquon Barkley does.
Yeah.
I watched him juke a guy, then reverse hurdle a guy.
Yeah.
You think someone gives a hell what some random on Twitter says? No. Saquon Barkley is Saquon Barkley for a reason. He got there because of the stuff he put in, the work he put in, the way he processes things. So good for Saquon not bending to the narrative.
What was the situation with the Red Sox? That was the last thing today.
Okay, yeah. This was tough. We got that video. I don't know if y'all know Duran from the Red Sox, but he came out publicly and said he tried to take his life maybe a year ago, maybe a couple of years ago. And the Boston Red Sox were playing the Guardians. And some guy in the stands said that he should have killed himself. And I think this is one of the worst things you can ever do. I think this gives you free right to absolutely jump in the stands and whoop that guy's ass. And if I was a fan in the stands, someone would have had to pull me off of that guy because that is below a low belt shot. And what type of person at a baseball game says that to somebody? I wish nothing but the worst. The worst for that guy. And if the Red Sox could, and the Guardians, you ban him from coming to their stadium, the Red Sox and the Guardians baseball.
What do you think?
Look, again, I'll say it seems like the guy said it, exactly what Blaine said, allegedly this, allegedly that. But if he did say it, there's some things that, to me, and I'm all for trash talking. I think it's great that the fans can interact and say their pieces, but there's just some lines that that you don't cross. And you know, I'm not for, you know, banning speech and stuff like that. I'm all for free speech. But, you know, there's still some things that I think if you say at the ballpark or say in certain places, like, you need to be banned from that place. And this is one of them. I just don't understand it. I've been as upset with my team or not liked another team that we're playing as much as anybody else, but I would just never think to say that to another individual, even if I hated them, like can't stand them. So I just, man, what a sad existence it must be from that guy to be able to first off think to say that, and then to actually say that. Just, I almost feel bad for the guy because it must be really sad.
100% a disgusting thing to say. And if you have proof that that guy said that, I am all for banning him from the ballpark and showing that your words and your actions have consequences. I guess where I disagree is on Duran being able to go into the stands and then get physical with that fan. As disgusting as it is, if you're a professional ball player, to me, you got to come to work and, like, whatever someone says, you have to sit there and deal with at least, or if you want to argue back, that's one thing, but to go and get physical with someone, to me, they win then. Because you're the one who's still, by legal definition, is going to get in trouble.
For sure.
If he says something, no matter how disgusting it is, but you get physical with him, they're going to get you, and then you lose.
Well, and that fan got the reaction that he probably wanted. Like, he wanted to get under his skin, and he did. But, you know, again, to your point, David, I don't want players. Look, and I know the guy threw something at Ron Artest when he was laying down the table, but what happened at the disaster,
Malice at the Palace.
Malice at the Palace. I don't want to see that. I think that's bad for sports. I don't want to take my daughter, to a game where that's going to end up happening. And awful things get said all the time. It doesn't make them right. But I do think if you're Duran there, you know, you're only adding fuel to the fire. The fans around him, as it seem to have taken care of the situation. But just man, just go to the game. God Almighty, you're at a baseball game in the United States of America, and you want to do that? Like, I just think that's unbelievably lame. But we don't think it's unbelievably lame that you guys joined us. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Thank you so much. We got a great interview tomorrow with Andy Staples from On 3, talking a bunch of college football, so do not miss that. And like the chances of me not wanting to do Blaine's plan when we're trying to kill that gorilla, we're going.
Good plan.
Gone.
It's a solid plan.